Discover how a single mom changed the lives of 3 troubled triplets in just 30 days. Incredible. Lisa Thompson stood at the edge of her world, a quiet suburban street just outside Cleveland, Ohio, with the weight of 2 jobs and a young daughter on her shoulders. At 38, life had twisted unpredictably, leaving her broken yet resilient. Every ounce of her energy poured into raising Mia, who had just celebrated her first day of kindergarten, painting the doorframe with bright handprints, a symbol of hope traveling through a tough past. But whispers had begun to circle around town, circling like vultures drawn to a wound. 3 triplets, Ethan, Noah, and Liam, known for their reckless behavior, had families in tangles and hearts breaking, their father a local veteran battling his own demons. Rumors of their chaotic home life stirred in the air like a summer storm ready to erupt. Lisa felt a tug of empathy, haunting in its familiarity. The stories reminded her of a time when she too felt lost in the crowd, invisible and alone. It nestled deep in her heart, igniting a fire of determination. She decided she had to reach out to offer something these boys so desperately needed, a stable hand, a guiding heart. Confronting her fears wasn't easy. The boys were wary, on guard. But as the days went by, her smiles and kindness began to chip at their tough exteriors. "You're not like the others," Ethan said one afternoon, cautious but curious. Drawing inspiration from their pain, Lisa organized mentorship sessions. Local leaders piled in with open hearts, ready to uplift the boys. Hope soared, beauty blossomed. Yet the community began to watch with narrowed eyes. "Why not focus on your own child?" a neighbor murmured at the playground, shooting daggers with her glare. "They don't deserve your time." The murmuring spiraled, igniting debates, embarrassing for Lisa, who only sought to change lives, not divide them. Before she could catch her breath, a misunderstanding drove a wedge between them. One night, heavy with regret, she found herself staring at 3 empty chairs. The triplets turned away, their silent accusation sealing the door behind them. Lisa felt the anguish stab deep, the boys' abandoned hope echoed her own childhood struggles. Did I push too hard? Her heart felt heavy, crumpling into a tight fist. A choke pulled in her throat, tears threatening to spill at the thought of letting them down, just when they were beginning to thrive. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As shadows loomed, she stood defiantly, a storm gathering in her chest. She faced her neighbors, a collective gaze burning through her, and spoke from her heart. Every child deserves a chance. It's not about distractions, it's about community. No one is unworthy. We all have wounds. Amidst heated exchanges, she witnessed gained courage flash in the eyes of the hesitant, but the brothers remained estranged, their gaping hurt unanswered. Lisa stood at the edge of her porch as the sun dipped low, casting long shadows on her uncertainty. Mia nestled beside her, their hearts both yearning for solace. Could love truly bind the thread severed by pain? Would the boys ever learn the warmth of acceptance again? The questions drummed like a relentless beat, urging her to find hope amongst the darkness. Every day after that fateful argument left Lisa feeling heavier, as if a storm cloud had settled above her head. The triplets were not just boys she had tried to help, they were a part of her life now, and their silence weighed on her spirit. With her own family's struggles still fresh, she felt lost between the worlds of Mia and the triplets. One evening, as dusk painted the sky in shades of orange and purple, she decided to visit their house, an old, crumbling structure on the corner. A fire lit behind drawn curtains flickered like a beacon in the gathering night. Heart pounding, she rapped gently at the door, unsure of what response she would get. A beat later, it opened just enough for Ethan to peek through, eyes filled with similar hesitance as the last time they spoke. What do you want? His voice barely rose above a whisper, tense and guarded. I want of you, just give me a chance to explain. Can I come in? After a long pause that felt like an eternity, he sighed and stepped back, allowing her entry. The moment she crossed the threshold, she was struck by the chaotic energy of the room. Toys strewn across the floor, fast food wrappers littering the table, and the faint hum of the television created a cacophony of a life lived in turmoil. She caught Noah and Liam near the couch, their expressions a mix of uncertainty and defiance. I'm sorry, Lisa began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. I didn't mean to push you away. I just want to help. I know how it feels to feel unworthy, to feel lost. Liam shifted uncomfortably in his seat. You're just doing this for attention, he blurted, crossing his arms tightly. It's not about me. She insisted, her heart racing. I see you. I see how hard it is every day. I want to be there for you, to guide you, but I can't do that if you shut me out. Ethan exchanged quick glances with his brothers, a silent conversation flashing between them. What Lisa couldn't see was the flicker of hope rekindling beneath their hardened exteriors. What do you think we need? Noah finally asked, breaking the thick silence. We need to care about ourselves, Lisa replied, her eyes shining with sincerity. I can't change your lives alone. But together, we can. I want to help you discover your worth, help you channel your energy into something powerful, something great. As she spoke, her words hung in the air, filling the space around them. The tension seemed to shift, broken by curiosity. Ethan, ever the brooding protector of his brothers, took a small step closer to her. Like what? Like art, she said, thinking of Mia's colorful handprints. You guys are full of creativity, I can feel it. We could organize a mural project at school. Yes, it may take time and yes, it won't be easy, but together we can change the conversation about you. Noah tilted his head, absorbing her words as they settled down like glittering stars in a midnight sky, slowly brightening the dark. The brothers shared another glance, hesitant yet curious. All right, Ethan murmured, breaking the silence, maybe we can give it a shot, but no promises. A wave of relief washed over Lisa. As she smiled, a sense of warmth flowed between them, a bridge slowly re-establishing itself. Perhaps they were ready to trust a little, to lean on her just as she wished to lean on them. But just as hope blossomed, the door creaked open wide behind them. A shadow crept into the room, and the laughter of children vanished. The evening had only just begun. Who's in my house? A gruff voice boomed, severing the moment and bringing a chill. Lisa's heart dropped. Would the arrival of their father destroy this fragile connection she had just begun to build? Lisa froze, the warmth in the room evaporating like breath on a winter morning. The sound of that voice, deep and menacing, seemed to slice through the fragile atmosphere, leaving nothing but dread in its wake. Ethan flinched, his expression instantly transforming from cautious hope to panicked alarm. Dad, he whispered, nearly inaudible. Noah and Liam instinctively moved closer together, their body language screaming for protection. Get out here. The voice barked again, heavier this time. It was the kind of command that summoned memories of fear and guilt, memories Lisa could only imagine haunting these boys. It was all too familiar, the overwhelming authority that silenced any voice of reason. With a deep breath, Lisa turned. She barely had time to catch sight of the man standing in the doorway, tall and broad, his heavy-set shoulders seemingly blocking the light from the hallway. A chill swept over the room as his eyes narrowed, surveying the gathering like a predatory gaze. What are you doing here, girl? He spat, the question laced with venom. Mr. Turner, Lisa began, but her voice faltered under the weight of his glare. I don't remember inviting you, he interrupted, stepping further into the room. His presence was suffocating, making even the walls seem to lean away. Dad, she just wants to help us, Ethan said, his voice shaking but determined. His challenge hung in the air, suspended in uncertainty. The tension between father and son crackled like static electricity. Help? You think someone like her can help you? Look at this mess. Mr. Turner swept his arm around the room, gesturing contemptuously at the disarray. You're a bunch of useless stop. Lisa shouted, her heart racing. It felt foreign yet necessary, but for a moment, she felt empowered. I came here to listen, to support them. They need someone who cares. The room fell silent, thick with a tension that none of them could dispel. Mr. Turner's face twisted in anger as he processed her words. For a brief moment, uncertainty flickered through his eyes, replaced quickly by rage. Who do you think you are? He sneered, stepping forward. The boys instinctively moved closer together as if forming a human shield. I'm someone who believes in them. She declared, the fire inside igniting her voice. They deserve better than this, all of this. For a fleeting moment, she caught the glances of Ethan, Noah, and Liam, each one imbued with a desperate need for validation, for someone to stand up for them. It would be so easy to back down now, to let fear dictate her actions, but she stood her ground. Listen up, Turner, she said, her tone unwavering. I want to let you intimidate them. You can't hide behind your anger and expect them to grow up believing they're nothing. The air seemed to thrum with tension. Would she break? Would he? The silence was thick, a precursor to either an explosion or an unexpected breakthrough. Get out! He finally shouted, the thunderous command forcing her back. Dad, please! Ethan pleaded, stepping between them. Lisa felt the long-buried desperation in his voice. Don't do this. Seeing Ethan protect her sent a wave of warmth through her heart, a glimmer of connection she wanted to nurture. But his father's wrath loomed large. If you want to change, you need to leave, Mr. Turner declared coldly. Or you can be here when I deal with my kids. Trepidation washed over Lisa as she realized she might have to make the hardest choice yet. Was it worth her fight? Was it too late to reach the boys before the night extinguished every flicker of hope she had ignited? As fear tightened her throat, Lisa glanced at the boys. They needed her now more than ever. But did she have the strength to face this storm head-on? The chapter of her life was about to take a turn, one way or another. Would she walk out of their lives or stand strong for the triplets she felt connected to? The room pulsed with an intensity that echoed Lisa's own racing heart. She could feel the weight of the situation pressing down on her, but she refused to let it suffocate her. Desperation hung in the air, mingling with the smell of overwhelming dread. The shadows seemed to deepen as Mr. Turner advanced, his glare laser-focused on her. Leave them alone. She asserted, the firmness in her voice surprising even herself. Ethan stepped back slightly, glancing uncertainly at his father, but he quickly regained his resolve. Dad, stop! He urged, a note of defiance threading through his quavering tone. Somehow, for the first time, Ethan's words felt like armor, not just for himself but also for his brothers. Their bond, fragile though it might be, tethered them together in this moment of crisis. Mr. Turner's expression shifted, confusion clouding his anger. You think you can come in here and play hero? He barked, but Lisa could see the faint flicker of doubt in his eyes. For so long, he had only seen his authority. Now, it was as if Lisa had exposed a crack in his armor. Maybe it's time someone showed you what being a real parent means, she said, her voice steady despite the storm raging inside her. Noah whispered something to Liam, their heads bowed together, sharing quiet words of encouragement. They were so used to being at the center of their father's wrath that witnessing someone stand up for them was almost surreal. Enough. Mr. Turner shot back, his fist clenched and tremors of fury vibrating through his frame. Sweat glistened at his temples, and shading his face were the shadows of countless moments spent belittling his boys. Despite the force of his presence, Lisa thought she saw an inkling, just a hint of uncertainty. Suddenly, she took a step toward him. You can't keep them in a cage built from your fear. You can't keep them from dreaming. Her heart thundered as she spoke, the stakes felt impossible. What if he turned his rage on her? But then she remembered the boys. Their faces were like candles in the dark, and she was a flame willing to risk everything to keep them alight. If he was the storm, she wanted to be the shelter. You think this is tough love? She continued, narrowing her gaze. Threatening the only people who look up to you? That's just cruelty. Ethan's breath hitched, and the air felt charged. Was this moment really happening? Would Mr. Turner finally see the truth that had eluded him for so long? Or would he lash out, cementing his family's suffering even deeper? Then, the unthinkable happened. Mr. Turner faltered. For a heartbeat, he hesitated, and in that split second, Lisa sensed a shift not just in him, but in Ethan, Noah, and Liam. Their hope was fragile, a flower peeking through cracks in concrete, yearning for sunlight. Walk out of here, he said, voice quaking as he struggled to maintain his composure. Walk out, and you won't have to see what happens next. Lisa fought against the urge to retreat. This was it. The pivotal moment where she had to choose. The uncertainty wrapped around her like a thick fog, but there was one thing she was sure of: she couldn't leave them behind. I won't walk out, she resolved, locking eyes with Ethan. You deserve more than living in fear. I'm not going anywhere. There, in that tension-filled silence, a shift took place. The light flickered just enough to illuminate the path ahead. But Mr. Turner's next action would determine whether that light would grow or be snuffed out entirely. Why do you care? He snarled, still trying to wield his authority like a sword. Because you're their father, Lisa replied softly. And deep down, I think you still care, too. She could feel the weight of the world pressing against her, a fragile balance waiting to tip. What he would do next would shake the very foundation of their relationships. The room was poised on the brink of change or collapse. Would Mr. Turner find the courage to embrace the love buried in his heart, or would he prove Lisa's worst fears right, casting them back into the darkness? The air thickened, the silence stretching like taut wire between them. Lisa's heart raced, each thud resonating against the cold walls, and the flicker of uncertainty in Mr. Turner's eyes filled her with cautious hope. Ethan stood beside her, resolute, anchored by the strength of Lisa's words. Just admit it, Lisa pressed, taking another step forward, her voice steady. You're scared. You're angry. But it doesn't have to always be this way. For a brief moment, Mr. Turner's features softened, confusion mingling with defiance. You don't know anything about me. He barked, but Lisa could sense the trembling in his facade. His bravado was cracking, and she needed to press on. Oh, but I do, she countered, her own voice thick with feeling. I've seen how you treat them. I see the fear behind your anger. You don't have to lash out. You can choose to love them instead. Noah and Liam exchanged glances, their faces a mix of bewilderment and hope. It felt surreal to see their father at a crossroads, on the edge of something monumental, yet terrifying. Why should I change? They don't listen anyway, Mr. Turner spat, rage swirling in his chest like a brewing storm. Because you're losing them, Lisa said quietly, her eyes never leaving his. You think scaring them will make them stronger? Look at them. They're crumbling under the weight of your expectations. Mr. Turner took a step back, his hands trembling. You don't know anything about being a father, he retorted, but his voice lacked the conviction it once had. And you don't know how to show them you love them, she replied softly, each word carefully chosen. They're terrified of you. They tiptoe around your anger like it's a minefield. But you can be better. You can be a father they can come to, someone who supports them. Ethan's eyes bore into his father, searching for a flicker of recognition. Dad, please, he pleaded. We just want to be a family. I can't keep pretending everything's okay. None of us can. The weight of their shared pain hung heavy, pulling at Mr. Turner's heart. Lisa watched as the edges of his anger frayed, revealing vulnerability. This was it. The moment they all hoped for, where the storm would either pass or unleash its fury. Why should I believe you? He muttered, eyes darting away, tracing the room as if the walls might offer a reprieve from the confession brewing within him. Because people can change, she replied, a calm conviction wrapping around her words. Look at me. I'm here because I care about these boys. I believe they deserve better. And deep down, I think you want better too. In that charged moment, silence wrapped around them like a blanket. The reality of his choices closed in on Mr. Turner, the room now echoing not just his anger but the fear of losing everything that mattered. What if I lose everything I've built? He finally whispered, a crack in his stormy demeanor. Then you rebuild it, Lisa said, her heart swelling with a sense of hope. But this time, you do it with love. You do it with them. Noah moved closer to Ethan, his small hand resting on his brother's arm, a silent pledge of unity. The tension that had long suffocated their home began to lift, replaced with a fragile glimmer of hope and reluctant possibility. Mr. Turner stood there, trapped in an internal battle, a parent caught between his past and the chance to reshape his legacy. Would he sink deeper into his fears, or could he dare to step forward into the unknown? As his gaze flickered back to Lisa, it was as if a doorway had opened in his heart. A flicker of recognition sparked within him, but would he take that step inside? Show me, he murmured, uncertainty coloring his voice. Show me how. In that pivotal moment, a chance for healing unfolded, bringing with it the weight of unspoken truths and buried fears. But with the road ahead still shrouded in uncertainty, Lisa realized that their journey was just beginning and the stakes had never been higher. Lisa took a steadying breath, aware of the gravity of Mr. Turner's request. His words hung in the air, fragile yet full of potential. She knew this moment had to mean more than just a fleeting plea for help. It was a turning point, a chance for all of them to redefine their lives and relationships. Okay, she said softly. Let us take it step by step. She looked around the dim room, trying to gauge the emotions etched on the boys' faces. Both boys seemed to inch closer, their hope mingling with uncertainty, just as she had felt all those years ago when she had to forge a new path for herself. First, she continued, focusing on Mr. Turner, you need to understand what your words and actions really mean to them. Love isn't about control or fear. It's about being there, understanding who they are. The word struck a chord in Mr. Turner. Lisa could see the storm in his eyes settle just slightly, as if a thin ray of sunlight had pierced through the clouds. Ignoring the remnants of doubt that still held him captive, he nodded slightly in acknowledgement that maybe, just maybe, he was ready to listen. Why don't you start by spending some one-on-one time with each of them? She suggested. Find out what interests them, what scares them. Ethan's eyes widened at Lisa's suggestion. The thought of spending time with his father without the familiar tension was daunting, yet a flicker of excitement ignited in him. For so long, there had only been anger and disappointment. If they could shift that, even a tiny bit, maybe a glimmer of a real relationship would grow. Noah loves drawing, Ethan offered hesitantly. And Liam he's obsessed with soccer. Mr. Turner seemed to absorb this information slowly, each word settling deeper in his mind. I don't know anything about those things, he finally admitted, his voice thin, almost hesitant. That's okay, Lisa encouraged. You don't have to be perfect. Just ask them questions. Show up. That alone matters. A hopeful expression tinged Noah's features, and Liam watched their father with an intensity that suggested he was weighing all possibilities. Hope was a fragile thing, yet it was beginning to take root in that little corner of their world. Suddenly, the enormity of the challenge hit Mr. Turner like a wave. What if I mess it all up again? He whispered, looking almost pained. You probably will, Lisa said honestly, trying to ease the pressure. But that's part of learning. No one gets it right all the time. She paused, then added, what matters is that you're trying. Mr. Turner looked at her then, and for the first time, she felt he truly saw her. Not as a stranger or an opponent, but as a bridge to something he longed for but had pushed away his sons. Okay, he said finally, a hint of resolve strengthening his voice. I'll try. Lightness filled the room, pushing back the shadows that had lingered for too long. The boys' faces brightened, and Lisa felt tears prick at her eyes, not from sadness but from relief. As hope began to weave its way into the fabric of their family, a new challenge materialized. What if they don't want to spend time with me? Mr. Turner's voice broke through her thoughts, vulnerable and raw. Then you keep showing up. You keep trying, Lisa replied firmly. It's a long road, but building trust takes time. The air shifted once more, charged with possibility, and Lisa found herself believing that they might just succeed. But as the days turned into weeks, she sensed that the real test was yet to come, an unexpected confrontation that would challenge everything they had started to build. What would happen when they faced their past as a family? The days rolled into weeks, each one quietly embedding itself in the Turner household. Ethan, Noah, and Liam tiptoed into their father's new approach with cautious hope. Mr. Turner, for his part, was trying, there was no denying that. He sat down with Ethan first, across the coffee table cluttered with sketchbooks and crayons. Ethan flipped the pages of a doodle-filled book nervously, their silence competing with the ticking clock in the background. "What's this?" Mr. Turner asked, his fingers brushing over a drawing of a dragon flying over a cityscape. "It's nothing, really," Ethan mumbled, his voice trailing off, but his cheeks flushed with pride despite himself. "Looks pretty amazing to me," Mr. Turner said, a small smile tugging at his lips. "What's the story behind it?" For the first time in ages, Ethan spoke freely, sharing ideas and dreams, and though Mr. Turner stumbled over questions, the effort opened a small door between them. Noah watched it unfold from the hallway, biting his thumb anxiously. His own opportunity was coming up next, and though he loved drawing, it felt vastly different sitting down with a father who had been more of a stranger than a parent. Liam was next. After days of observing his brother's interactions, he found himself staring at a pair of cleats that had sat unopened in the corner of his room. Soccer was a passion, but it always felt tainted under the pressure of expectations. What if he failed? What if he couldn't impress his dad? "Can we kick the ball around in the backyard tomorrow?" Mr. Turner asked one night at dinner, entirely oblivious to Liam's racing heart. "Yeah, okay," Liam shrugged, unable to hide the flicker of surprise on his face. The next afternoon, as the ball soared between them, laughter erupted, echoing off the fences. Slowly, the distance between father and son dissolved, and with each kick, the remnants of past tensions faded. But joy came with subtler challenges. As Mr. Turner embraced these small victories, he wrestled with deeper shadows, the fear of backlash. What if the boys' memories of anger and disappointment clung too tightly, like vines choking a flower? Lisa watched the transformations unfold, warm relief spilling into her chest. Yet she couldn't ignore the unsettling tension building in the background. The boys continued to share their hopes with her, while Mr. Turner fought against his instinct to control, learning to let go. But the atmosphere shifted one evening when a call came through that threatened to disrupt everything. As dinner simmered on the stove, the phone rang, its shrill jangle slicing through the comfortable chatter. Mr. Turner's brow furrowed when he answered, his expression hardening as he listened. "Is everything all right?" Lisa asked, noticing the creeping shadow across his face. "It's my boss," he replied, his voice strained. "I messed up on that report, again. If I don't fix this, I might lose my job." Anxiety piled up around the dinner table. What if this stress unraveled the fragile threads of connection they had begun to weave? Would the boys see the anger return, the familiar storm clouds forming over their father's head? The familial warmth felt suddenly precarious, as if a strong gust could send it all crashing down. "What are we supposed to do now?" Ethan whispered, uncertainty creeping into his voice. As tension gripped the room, Mr. Turner's resolve trembled. Would he revert back to his old self? But just as the lingering unease settled, a surprised laughter erupted from Noah, cutting through the heaviness. "Hey, Dad, remember when you kicked the ball like a total dork?" The laughter was infectious, lighting the spark of hope again. Yet were they truly ready to face the deeper challenges ahead? As the echoes of laughter faded, the gravity of Mr. Turner's reality hung ominously in the air, reminding them all that the fight for a family was just starting. How would they weather the storms against this new tide of stress and pressure? The tension in the Turner household didn't just vanish. It lingered, wrapped around their moments like a thick fog. Even through laughter, they could feel it pressing down. Mr. Turner tried his best to maintain a facade of calm, but beneath the surface, he wrestled with swirling doubts. The next morning, he woke early. The sunlight slipped through the blinds, casting stripes on the stressed face reflected in the mirror. He thought about the report, the call, how the ink in his pen seemed to dry up whenever he picked it up, leaving blank pages that mirrored his own fears. What could he say to the boys that would reassure them? He needed their trust, their belief that he was different now. Downstairs, Ethan, Noah, and Liam were at the kitchen table, eyes glued to the fresh pancake stack that Lisa had made. Her warmth filled the space, but even her smile couldn't completely lighten the weight hanging in the air. "Hey there, sleepyhead," Lisa greeted Mr. Turner, pouring him a cup of coffee. "You look like a man with the world on his shoulders." He chuckled weakly, leaning against the counter. "It feels that way sometimes." "Want to talk about it?" she asked, softening her tone. He opened his mouth but shut it again. How could he share the fear of losing his job, of his failures, without dragging them back into past feelings? Instead, he took a breath and said, "I want to be better. For them." The breakfast table felt different that morning, cloaked not in chaos but in connection, even if it still felt fragile. With each bite of pancake shared among them, they dared to return to normalcy, dipping their toes into the waters of a rebuilt family. "Dad, how about we go to the park later?" Ethan suggested. "We can play basketball." Liam perked up, his eyes brightening. "Or soccer. We could bring the cleats." "Yeah, okay. Why not both?" Mr. Turner replied, wanting to sound enthusiastic, but his voice stumbled. He worried if they would still enjoy him. "Sweet. I'll beat you at both," Noah teased, competing for their father's eye, and it worked. Mr. Turner felt his heart lighten as laughter began to bubble up again. After breakfast, Mr. Turner headed out, coffee in hand, ready to tackle the day. As he drove toward work, thoughts raced about the report. Would he have what it took to pull it all together? What if he let the boys down again? But during lunch, a flicker of clarity came. He opened his phone and sent a text to his boss, "Can we meet? I have some ideas to fix the report." The response came quickly, a simple affirmation that made his stomach flutter. As he pulled into the driveway later that evening, feeling a strange sense of optimism, he noticed Ethan sketching on the porch, the barest hint of worry hiding behind his eye as he concentrated. "Hey buddy," Mr. Turner called, setting down his bag and walking towards him. "What are you working on?" Ethan looked up, momentarily startled, but then smiled. "Just some ideas for a project at school." "Can I see?" With a flick of uncertainty, Ethan handed over the sketch. As Mr. Turner studied the lines and shapes, he realized this was more than just a drawing, it was a glimpse into Ethan's world. "I love it," he said sincerely, and watched Ethan's face brighten in response. Just then, Noah and Liam barreled out the door, soccer ball in hand, forcing Mr. Turner to shift focus. "See on, Dad. Let us go." They cheered, energy radiating like stars lighting up the dusk sky. He could feel their excitement pulsing through him, a tether connecting them all. They ran toward the park, hearts racing, but as they neared the field, a flicker of doubt darted through Mr. Turner's mind. What if he stumbled? What if they saw him trip again? Yet as the sun dipped low, casting a golden hue over all four of them, he felt a growing resolve. "Let us show them how it's done," he shouted, charging onto the field, laughter trailing behind him. The sounds of kicking grass and playful shouts filled the air. Would this be the moment they all needed to gather strength and stay united? Or would the shadows come creeping back into their lives? As they played, they began to discover more about each other and perhaps about themselves too. Who would help him confront the logic behind his fear? Would a long-forgotten past come crashing back? Little did they know, the real test was yet to come, and it would take all of them to stay on their feet. Under the fading light of the evening, laughter echoed across the park as the Turner family played. Each kick of the ball sent a fresh rush of adrenaline through Mr. Turner, reminding him of the joyful moments he once thought lost. As the game progressed, he felt the warmth of their connection, a warmth that pushed away the shadows of doubt, if only for a little while. They moved in sync, navigating the field like seasoned players. Ethan's strategic thinking and quick feet, Noah's infectious enthusiasm, and Liam's infectious laughter blended seamlessly with his own attempts to keep up. Mr. Turner breathed in the cool air, filled with a sense of freedom he hadn't known in years. He felt alive. Still, lurking in the back of his mind was the ever-looming question of how long it would last. Would he be able to keep this newfound spirit, this electric connection through the ups and downs of life that awaited him? In the middle of a play, Noah took a tumble, landing gracefully on the grassy field. From across the way, Mr. Turner froze. "Noah!" he called out, heart racing. But Noah rolled over, laughter erupting from him like fireworks lighting up the night sky. "I meant to do that." He chuckled, leaping back to his feet. That laugh, it tugged at something deep within Mr. Turner. It reminded him that joy could be found, even in the face of uncertainty. As the game wrapped up, victorious cheers erupted. They were no longer just a father and his sons, they were a team, each person functioning together in a way that felt both supportive and strong. They flopped onto the grass, huffing and puffing under the deepening sky, each refusing to let go of the moment. "Next time, can we play for real?" Liam asked, his eyes bright with fire. "Like a proper match with goals and everything?" Mr. Turner smiled. "Absolutely. Just let me know when, and I'll be there." The boys exchanged ideas for the next game, their voices blending seamlessly like an orchestra coming back to life. But as the warmth of connection surrounded him, Mr. Turner felt a pang of anxiety tugging at the edges. The report deadline at work loomed, and with it the fear of failure and disappointment. "Dad," Ethan's voice broke through his thoughts. "What's wrong?" Mr. Turner caught Ethan's concerned gaze, those doe-like eyes searching his soul. In that moment, Mr. Turner realized he had to share his burdens to let his boys in. "It's just I have something big coming up at work. I'm a little nervous." Ethan frowned slightly. "But you always tell us to face fears, right? Just like we faced that goal." Mr. Turner felt pride swell in his heart. "You're right. I need to remember that." As they headed back home, each boy recapped their highlights of the day, their laughter echoing softly against the setting sun. Yet, a deeper unease tugged at Mr. Turner's mind. Should he lean into this newfound strength and share more with his family? Or was it safer to keep them shielded from adult worries? Later that night, as he tucked the boys into bed, he stood at the door, filled with mixed emotions. They had found fleeting magic together, but the real world still awaited him. "Good night, Dad," Liam whispered, sleepily. "You did great today." Mr. Turner smiled, heart swelling. "I'm proud of you, too." But as he walked down the hall, his thoughts circled back to the report, to the meeting with his boss. Could he truly turn this around? Would facing his fears lead to the unity and support he craved, or would it drive another wedge into their fragile household? Tomorrow was approaching fast. Would he be ready to take the leap? The sun crested over the horizon, painting the Turner household in soft morning light. But for Mr. Turner, today was a storm brewing in his chest. He could feel the weight of the impending meeting with his boss like a heavy cloak, wrapping around him and tightening with every tick of the clock. "Mornin', Dad." Ethan greeted, bright-eyed and full of energy, contrasting sharply with the turmoil brewing beneath Mr. Turner's surface. "Ready for our basketball challenge tonight?" "Yeah, of course," he replied, forcing a smile, knowing he had to be present for his sons. They were counting on him, and he couldn't let them down again. Yet, worry corroded the edges of his resolve. As he walked into the kitchen, Noah and Liam were already bickering playfully, their laughter infectious. Lisa sprinkled light into the room, flipping pancakes with a contagious enthusiasm. "This looks amazing," he said, trying to inject a dose of positivity into his day. But even the sweet smell of syrup couldn't mask the growing anxiety clawing at him. They sat down together, and as they ate, the warmth of shared meals filled the air, but his mind was still filled with worries. Would he keep his job? Was he really the better father he was trying so hard to be, or just a shell filled with doubt? "Dad, you okay?" Ethan's voice broke through his thoughts again, suddenly serious. "Yeah, I'm fine," he replied quickly, but the weight of the truth felt heavier than ever. Noah, always the perceptive one, added, "You don't look fine. You have that thing on your face." A laugh escaped Mr. Turner, but it was brittle. Instead of brushing through the discomfort, he decided it was time to let them in. "It's just there's a big meeting at work today. I need to talk to my boss about a mistake I made," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. The room fell silent for a moment. The boys exchanged glances, their expressions reflecting a mixture of understanding and concern. "You fixed everything else," Liam started, his brows furrowed. "You'll fix this, too. Right?" "Absolutely," Mr. Turner affirmed, the resolve sparking in his heart. "But it'll take work just like everything else we're doing as a family." Ethan leaned forward, elbows on the table. "You know we're here for you. Just like you're there for us." The sincerity in his son's eyes lit a torch within Mr. Turner. Perhaps this was the moment he showed them the courage to face their fears together. "Thank you for saying that," he said, emotions swelling inside him. "I'll try to remember that today." Back at the office, the atmosphere felt suffocating. The echo of footsteps on cold tile reverberated in his mind as he waited outside his boss's office. Dread curled in his stomach, but as he replayed the laughter from breakfast, a new wave of calm washed over him. He had taken steps forward as a father, he could face this as a man. "Come in." His boss called, the heavy door swinging open to reveal a well-dressed figure behind a formidable desk. "Mr. Turner, I understand you have some concerns," his boss began, but Mr. Turner held his ground. "Yes, I do. I messed up the report. I can accept that. But I have some ideas on how to fix it," he said, unwavering, his voice trembling only slightly. His boss eyed him warily, the tension thick as molasses until Mr. Turner laid out his ideas meticulously, revealing plans that brought a spark into the discussion. And as words flowed, so did his confidence. After what felt like hours, he exited the office, back straight. He couldn't tell if he had secured his place on the team just yet, but he felt proud of himself, a feeling he hadn't experienced in forever. Coming home, he stopped short. Laughter floated through the air as the boys played basketball in the driveway. Lisa stood by, cheering them on. Happiness wrapped around the scene like a cozy blanket, filling his heart with warmth. "Hey everyone!" he called, enthusiasm bubbling as shots flew through the hoop. "Dad! Join us!" Ethan shouted, tossing the ball in his direction. With a grin, Mr. Turner stepped forward, forgetting about the worries that had nagged him all day. As he picked up the ball, laughter erupted around them, fueling a belief in his heart that his family was stronger than any storm. They played until dusk, the glow of the sunset stretching out their silhouettes, bonding over missed shots and roaring triumphs. As the night wound down, they flopped onto the lawn, breathless, but filled with excitement. "Let us keep this going," Liam said, his voice ringing with hope. "Tomorrow, we should do soccer this time. Whatever they want," Mr. Turner declared, laughter bubbling in his chest. Amidst the joy, Lisa leaned in closer. "I'm proud of you for today. You did a great job," she whispered, and the praise stirred a depth of emotion inside him, contrasting the uncertainty that once shrouded his life. As he looked around, the shadows of yesterday began to dissolve, replaced with rays of clarity. Together, they had weathered storms and begun to heal. As he held their gaze, hope swirled around them, creating bonds that couldn't be broken. The triplets were no longer just boys he had tried to help, they had become the driving force behind his desire to change. And in that moment, he realized he wasn't merely a father striving for perfection, he was a man learning to love, learning to be better right alongside his sons. This was their new beginning, the dawning of a family built on understanding, effort, and love, something worth fighting for. As the stars twinkled in the night sky, the Turner family embraced their new reality, ready to face whatever future awaited them with hearts wide open, hand in hand, together. Now's the time to make a difference. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, your support truly matters. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Join the true fans that help us grow through your actions.